Former Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee famously once said, "We can choose our friends but not our neighbors." It was this belief which drove him to try for peace with Pakistan and also acknowledge Tibet Autonomous Region as part of China. From that moment in 2003 to 2026, India-China ties have gone through multiple phases, the worst being the post-Galwan phase, which lasted nearly 4 years till 2024. Diplomacy calls for constant recalibration, and this is exactly what India and China did in the year 2024. The impact of Russia-Ukraine war was felt by the entire world, but for major oil importers, India and China, the need to diffuse at least one front was urgent. The thaw came with meeting between the Prime Minister of India and the President of China in 2024. Both sides agreed to set up special representatives talks to resolve the border issue, which remains unresolved for over 60 years. In light of the checkered history and turbulent recent past, Indian NSA Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's talks in Beijing assume a lot of significance. While Indian sides readout focused on maintaining peace at border for progress in bilateral ties, Chinese sides readout focused on placing border issues in larger context of bilateral ties. Neither side repeated the early harvest formulation, which called for settling specific, well-defined or less disputed sectors. The solution, which featured in the previous rounds of talks since 2025, found no mention in the 2026, and reason could very well be President Trump. Ever since taking charge in his second term, the president has been targeting India and China over buying Russian oil. While he has often paused or gone back on his threats of super tariffs on China, his administration continues to try and corner New Delhi. India now realizes that Trump's flip-flops mean that the direction of Indo-US ties will remain uncertain in the near future. Given this predicament, it is pragmatic for both India and China to engage with each other. It is often said a known adversary is still better than a dubious friend. Following the Doval-Wang Yi talks, Chinese Foreign Ministry quoted Wang Yi as using an OFT repeated cliché, "The dragon and elephant can dance together." The reality is that the dance floor remains uneven and riddled with pitfalls. China has a stranglehold on the supply chains for rare earths magnets, which are critical to India's EV push. Following China-US tensions, Beijing curbed cheap exports hitting Indian auto and tech sectors. The trade imbalance in favor of China has surged past $112 billion and continues to grow. China's aggressive posturing on Arunachal and frequent reports of ingress from Arunachal to Ladakh do not allow the trust deficit to end. Most importantly, as seen during Operation Sindhu, China's active assistance to Pakistan with real-time intel means that India will always have to be prepared for a two-front war. At leadership levels, much may not change following such talks, but they remain significant. Easing of tensions remains critical. Bilateral ties, including people-to-people exchanges. Also, the ongoing Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Such talks also ensured that border trade through the 3 designated trading passes continues uninterrupted.